Well, good evening and welcome to the Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show. I'm James Slim Overton and I'm here with Leah Drake Stitt. You can't see her, but she is
Hello.
there. Her voice is
Hello.
going is just as important as seeing her, although we would rather see her. And the Colonel is coming on a little later. So we have
Okay.
some special guests with us today. And before I get to that, I want to do this little history thing. I just saw where the first black Navy SEAL, his name was William Goins, passed away not too long ago. He became a Navy SEAL. Well, President Kennedy formed the Navy SEALs in 1962, and I think he came on later. Let's see, well, he was born in 35, but he came on later and served until his retirement. But he was the first black Navy SEAL. Got plenty of letting the colonel in there. Got plenty of accommodations, and I'll talk a little bit more about that today. But I thought I'd bring that up as a little bit of history, as we have a Navy vet on today. So I
And
know
just
that.
imagine what he went through to earn his trident.
Yes, can you imagine what he went through to get? Well, it's already a rigorous process to become a Navy SEAL, and he probably had to deal with that, and some racism.
A
Well,
lot.
a lot of racism, and he still excelled in that. So I'll give some more information on that later. But we have a special guests with us, and these are owner and operators of the Printed Word Bookstore in Churchland in the city of Portsmouth, and they are Tera. Is that Tera?
Tara.
Tara. Why did I say
Uh-huh.
Tera? Tera and Terrence. Now, Alston. Now, how? I mean, those two names just came together like that. I
I
mean,
know. People always say, wow, TA and
wow.
TA. I'm like, yep, T and T.
Some things are just meant to happen. So, but
Yeah.
look, we are familiar, and Colonel Thomas Chapman just tuned in. Hello, Colonel. How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
All right.
Hi.
Hey, Colonel.
All right,
Anyway, we're gonna get to know a little bit about this couple, the owner operators of the Printed Word Bookstore, and it's kind of funny, I've been there twice now when they had their story readings for children on every Saturday, and we've talked after the events and found out we had some people we knew in common, my
Mhm.
cousins. And then the last time it got more in depth. I met Tara's mother, and
Yeah.
she remembered me from being out in Hodges Ferry. I'm not going to say where,
Yes.
but being out in
Uh-huh.
Hodges Ferry.
Right.
And what is amazing, then I saw on their book, uh, Thomas, they are very familiar with Aunt Cyril and my mother and the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling them that you are part of that too. Your mother and your Uncle Lawrence, who is Cyril's brother. So
Uh-huh.
all in the
Okay.
family here today.
Yeah, it appears that way. Yes.
Yes. But anyway, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate what you've done. And I had a chance firsthand to witness what you do there on Saturdays. But you're also a business. It's also a bookstore that has new and used books. So
Yes.
let's get to know a little bit about you all. Tara, you local. You
Yes.
graduated
I
from Western
am.
Branch
Yes.
High School. Colonel like that. That's his alma mater. And you
Yep.
went to
Don't
St.
ruin it.
Leo's and Old Dominion University. Had quite a few positions. I'll let you talk about that. And Terrence, you were Colonel might like this also. You were in the Navy, but you were in the medical field, which Colonel was too. Colonel was a nurse there, and you were drug counselor in the Navy.
I was a hospital corpsman in the Navy. I'm a
Oh,
retired
okay.
senior chief hospital corpsman. And my specialty in what I do now, I'm a substance abuse counselor.
Oh, substance abuse counselor. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
I was a
and you're
corpsman, but
still doing
my
that now.
specialty was substance abuse,
Oh, okay.
which I currently
So,
still do to this day.
oh, okay. Very needed profession. Thank you. And tell us a little bit about yourself. I don't know how long you and Terrence been married, but I think you probably, when you marry a military guy, you have to move around a little bit.
Yeah,
So
we've been married going on, this is our 24th year. We've been married for 24 years. I met him.
I really wanted him to say it. I wanted to know if
Oh,
he
go
knew
ahead.
it. That's okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
okay.
I got him off the hook. I got him off the
Yeah, I was
Go
putting him
ahead.
on the spot, but that's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm glad you got the number right. Yeah, we met at the Naval Hospital where I currently work, but at the time I was stationed at the Naval Hospital working in psychiatry as a substance abuse counselor, and she worked in the same department. And at the time I was a single dad raising my son, by myself. And then I, met her and she became girlfriend, and then it evolved, from there. So we met while I was in uniform. I think at the time I met Tera, I was at about my 14-year mark because I did 23 years in the Navy. But at the time I met her, was at about the 14-year mark.
And the Navy or the military in general brings a lot of people to this area, and they end up staying in this area. So where are you originally from, Terrence?
Okay, I was, like I told you before, I was born in South Carolina. However, grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, grew up in Cleveland, but I was born in South Carolina. My father went to college at Wilberforce in Southern Ohio, and when he
HBCU.
finished, when he finished, and he went to Vietnam. He went to Vietnam, and then afterwards, when he finished up his tour in Nam and finished up his time in the Marine Corps, we ended up in Cleveland. That's where he got his first job, working for Cleveland Juvenile Court. And my mom was also there too. She was a teacher. So I was blessed to have two professional parents and two HBCUs and two folks of the Divine Nine. My father was a Q and my mother was an AKA. So they were proud HBCU people, both from down south. Again, my father was from South Carolina. My mother was from Alabama, Opelika, Alabama. And my dad got his first job in Cleveland, and that's where I grew up. But every summer as a kid, I went to South Carolina to stay with my grandparents and see my cousins and learn how to work. Because like I shared with you, I used to work in the tobacco field and do all kind of stuff. And then I got to a point where I was too old to, go to South Carolina every summer. And I got a paper route in Cleveland. So I was delivering newspapers, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and then working at the grocery store. My father always made me work, And that's the story. And then at 17, when I graduated from high school, he told the Navy to come get me. And the Navy came and took me away. And there you go.
That was during those times when you got a certain age, you had to get out of here.
Had to get out. Yep.
But all that you did in preparation for that prepared you for
me, yes, sir.
For the Navy or whatever else you had to face there.
Yes, it did.
And Tara, your journey, after high school, you went on to college and
to ODU.
you had another career. You had another career.
Yeah, I went to ODU right out of high school from Western Branch to ODU. And then I also got into the medical field and did that for years. And then I pursued my master's degree in human resources from St. Leo University, and then went into that field. So I've been doing human resources for now probably 10 or 12 years. So that's kind of, what I'm presently doing for the Department of the Navy.
And then you all decide to get into business. So before we get into that, I'll see if the Colonel has a question or has something to add there. I know he likes that Army Navy.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. It's all about the branches and in service to this country, especially when it's where our country is at risk, especially coming up in November. We might not have a country after that. But saying that, and I think that when you open up your opening monologue about the first Black Navy SEAL, and it comes to mind, and Master Chief William Goins, it was served during the same times that Carl Bashir was doing struggles, and knowing him and his family out in Cavalier Manor. Was so well aware because he said Carl served with my dad, and and they did all the American Legion stuff, and we're friends with the family and stuff like that. But the struggle that these two Black men going through the ranks, trying to get to where they want to go. That same struggle is here today, because you look at the percentages of Black Americans that are trying to be SEALs and Navy divers, special forces, and all the hard specialty stuff. And those are the ones, especially on the officer side, those are the quick ways to get to general officer or flag officer. We're cut off at the knees to get there. And all the false roadblocks are put in that road to get there. And so one has to ask, especially when we're having such a problem with recruiting is across the board. None of the branches are really making their numbers. I think the Air Force said they made it, but they made it after they decreased the numbers that were coming in. So it was a wax on, wax off kind of thing. So why? And so I have to ask Tera, why don't more of our young youth join in the military, especially now? I know Black unemployment is down nationwide and lowest ever, but the Black youth that is walking the corners, hanging out at Farm Fresh or whatever, with the pants hanging down and vaping or whatever they're doing, and no job other than waiting to take you and take yours. Why can't we get them to a recruiting station and just give them one tour?
Yeah, we had this conversation the other day, Colonel, over at my job, because 5 years from now, you may walk in the Naval Hospital where I work, and it'll be all civilians. It'll be all civilians. The sailors won't be there anymore, okay? The ones that we do have, we're going to put them on operational units, surgical teams, submarines, ships, aircraft carriers, etc. But to answer your question, it's funny, and I mentor a lot of youth. And these young kids now, they don't want anybody telling them what to do. They have their cell phone, they can put up videos, and they can make money that way. Everybody now wants to make a hustle through their cell phone, okay? And some of these kids are talented. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are talented. Some of them are going to make it. But the majority of them are. But to answer your question, again, like when I joined back in the 80s, the recruiter said, bring the whole neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood doesn't want to come because, again, they don't want anyone telling them what to do. And even now, again, I work around sailors, young sailors over at the Naval Hospital, and I'm still mentoring them. You have to sell the Navy on why the Navy should keep you now, okay? Back when I was coming up, if you stayed in shape and didn't have any, office hours, as they call it, I think in the Army, or NJPs, they will let you re-enlist. Now sailors have to prove to the Navy why they should, keep them, okay? I'm drawing a retirement check every month and, get other incentives and this and that. So the push isn't to, have these kids stay long-term or retire. They bring them in, they teach you a specialty, train you up, get you as many certifications, and they encourage you to go outside and challenge your skill set. So that's the way I see it now. Again, these young kids just they don't want to join because, again, the military is telling them what they have to do. They look at it that way and they don't want that.
Yeah, and I there's one thing I do beg the difference. I think the military still wants to keep you because of retention. The more people I retain, is the more people I don't have to recruit on the back end. Yeah. But they're
very selective, Colonel.
Huh? Yeah, there's a different.
They're very selective now who they do keep. They're very selective.
And what I was going to is that same standard is changed. That is, like we say, we have two justice systems, and the military code of justice affects us differently from our white counterpart. And I saw that over and over again, where we got busted for simple nothing, slap on the hands for the same person, same offense, and sometimes even worse offense. My white counterparts got away with things. And I saw this throughout my whole military career. And I just have to shake my head. But that is that institutional racism that's out there. Matter of fact, I had this discussion with with one of my counterparts that's on active duty now. that we changed. Well, during the Trump administration, they changed the system of evaluations and also assignment processes to where you had to go interview with it, and they call it what they call AIM system, which from the beginning I said it was discriminatory, because if you weren't well connected or didn't know whoever you wanted, when it's time to PCS go to another station and you wanted to go there, you had to interview to get that job.
Right.
Right away, if me and I got a couple my white counterparts there that actually don't perform better than not even close to what I can do, they're going to get that job unless they want me to come there to clean up the mess. And then I'm gonna work like a dog to help them move the system, as they go forward. And so there are some discriminatory things that are still out there. And I even go back to even saying when they changed the Army uniform, a uniform out there, they gone to this Eisenhower pre-slavery, before we couldn't get, we wasn't even in the military per se, that brown uniform. And this is a different discussion, to lock that in because of the Trump administration wanted to, take us back in time. So fast forward now, yes, this discriminatory piece is alive and well out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
As I hear you all having that discussion, it's probably all the reason for what you all are doing now, especially with your strategy, teaching the younger kids how to read. Because even my granddaughter, who is 6, has these devices that she can just go to easily, and which will take them away from the basic practice of just reading. And so I think you can explain how important it is to you all, along with your business, that you have these Saturday storytelling where you bring in people to read, to encourage the young people to read, so they can grow up with more creative minds and not depending on videos and what they see, or thinking they can have a video show and that's the way to make it.
Right.
It probably was good at one time, but it's saturated now with everybody has a podcast. So, you have to get back to preparing yourself for other things. So books are a gateway to doing all of those things. So how did you all get into reading? I guess nobody has a bookstore if they don't have a love for reading themselves. So how did you all get into that as far as a business?
I guess I got everything started. I have always been a avid reader, love all books, love writing, just the business of writing and books and publishing. I always loved that. And always thought in my mind, oh, it would be nice to own a bookstore one day. But it's just that thought that passes through your mind every blue moon. But then we had the opportunity to acquire a space. And I thought, this is going to be it. And within, I would say, 2 months of signing a lease of the place, we opened our doors. July of this year will be our 2nd year in business. So it allows me to work with books. And again, with my love of reading and books, but it also gives Terrence an opportunity to work with young people, which is his passion. So it enables us to bring both of those together through the bookstore.
Yeah, and I've seen him at work. He's pretty good with the youngsters and keeping them engaged and bringing in different things. So, Leah, are you still there? I know.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I had a question when Terrence was saying he was from South Carolina. What part of South Carolina, Terrence?
I was born in King Street, South Carolina. That's in Williamsburg County. That's the PD region. Right off of Highway 52, US 52, right below Lake City and Florence.
I'm familiar with King Street.
My parents were from Beaufort, South Carolina, so I spent a lot of time down there on the seacoast of Beaufort. But getting back to the bookstore, I'm just so happy to see a bookstore because many of the bookstores have faded away. My son, who is an avid reader, worked forever at Walden Books. And he always wanted to open up a bookstore, but just didn't see the viability because of the fact that people are now going to their Kindles, or, they don't want to feel and touch and smell the book anymore. So I was just so happy to come into your place to see the bookstore, to see it thriving, to see the young children who are in there, the story time, and you're allowing the local authors to come in. So it's just a joy. I always thought that the only way you could be successful with a bookstore, it had to be a bookstore, coffee shop. So yours is not a bookstore, coffee shop, but yours is an avenue to bring the community together within your facility. And that is a blessing within itself. So first of all, I want to commend both of you for stepping out and opening up this bookstore. I said, especially when bookstores are just fading away. So I wanted to say that I commend you. And what made you think about engaging the young people and getting the young authors in, so the children can meet the authors, so the children can learn how they too one day may be authors?
Yeah, having the store gave us the platform. Again, I've been mentoring. I've been an advocate for kids since the Million Man March. But even prior to that, Miss Leah, it all comes from my dad. My dad was a social worker. When I was a kid, he was the deputy director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters in Cleveland. And his job always was matching, kids up with mentors. So I saw that firsthand as a child growing up in Cleveland. And, I guess you could say, like father, like son, I kind of took after him as far as, having a love for kids. Okay. And looking out for kids and wanting to, do for kids. And, when we got the bookstore up and rolling, I was, perfectly aware of, our kids not doing well on SOLs and, not doing well academically. And so I started talking to people. I have a collection. I have a core of friends, smart people. I try to hang around smart people. And, the idea was thrown out there. And then I think my wife added to it. She said, well, why don't you, host story time and, bring kids in and we can, work on a way of, having them leave the store with a book to build their own library. So that's how it all started. So story time was our first outreach that has been here, from the very beginning. And again, we do it twice a month on Saturdays at 11:30. And we have a group of about 18 kids between the ages of 4 and 9. We set the room up. Either I'll read to them or we'll have an author and read them a book. And most of the books that we read are books to make them feel good about themselves. Okay. And the books look like them and they like that. And books to, encourage them to, be at their best. And then I even add to it, all of them already know what they want to be. I got a girl that wants to be the president of the United States. One wants to be an astronaut. One wants to be a business owner. They all want to be some professional. And I tell them that's what you're going to be.
Well, that's wonderful. And I like the idea of your giving the youngsters books to take home with them. So that they too, because many of the homes do not have books in them anymore. Right. So it's good that they can go home and build their own library from the books that you're willing to give them. Now, let me ask you this. Do you receive used books, but in good condition?
Yes, we do. We do take used. We call them our pre-loved books, and we do accept them. And we have them along with all of our new books as well.
And how do you make the determination as to which books the children will take home with them when they come to the Printed Word?
We partner with wholesalers and other organizations that deal with childhood literacy, and they provide us with just all kinds of books. And so each time we get books in and we just spread them out when the kids come in, and they can just select which one they want. But again, we try to partner with organizations that support for-profit and nonprofit organizations that work with children.
And how do the parents get in touch with you if they want to get their children involved in the storytelling hour?
They can contact us through our social media, either on Instagram or Facebook, or they can reach us here at the store. or call us on our cell. We're easy to get in contact with. So, but it's open to the public. We don't have a limit on the number of kids. There's no sign up required. Whenever we have it posted, we're having story time. Any kid in the community is welcome to come.
Let me bring up something that the Colonel brought up. I think he brought up some good points, as usual, like he always does. And, as you talk about, when we talk about crime and young people dealing with crime, and one of the solutions I think we try to talk about is building a foundation with our younger kids and respecting each other, respecting life in general. So as far as the military and having a lack of people even wanting to join the military, something you did when you had Ken right in there talking about the Buffalo Soldiers, when you share that kind of history with young people, it sort of plants a seed and gives them a sense of pride. And the Buffalo Soldiers was one of the beginnings of the military. So how often do you have reference books in there? Do you have books in there that have a local? I know you have local authors, but books on local figures, from this area, because when kids can learn about people that they can touch or they know, it sort of sticks with them a little longer, I think.
Right. Well, we do have a section for our local authors here, and we try to reach out to all of them. Whenever we come across someone recommends them, we find their book and read it. We will reach out to those authors to see if they're willing to come in, not only read to our kids, but also just come in and do author events here at the store. We've done book launches for a couple of our local authors to get their books out there. Authors that are already have books published, just to have them come in, just to do author signings and author events for the public. But we try to keep on a display of all of our local authors from the area.
Yeah, I think it was interesting too to have someone to come there read that was Native American. Well, Native American and Black. So,
Yeah.
Exposing our kids to things that they might not normally, because like you mentioned earlier, there's so much concentration on the SOLs. It's a lot of that history that they need to know that is missed. So I guess, that's something that you all encourage and try to do. But you're also a business. You're also a business that wants to make money, and you're a service-oriented business. So the better service that you provide, the more money you make. And going outside of just selling books and offering that story time, I think is a plus.
Yes. We do. I always tell people we do this as a love, a passion of ours, books and working with the kids. So we, I always tell people you don't open a bookstore to make money. You just don't. You just don't. But so far we have had great support from the community, from our family and friends, co-workers, church family,
military.
So it's been wonderful, and it's allowed us to do a lot of outreach to the community. In addition to what we do with the kids, we're able to do other events as well. Some of them tie into literacy and some of them don't. But again, just to give our kids and our community an avenue and the resources to make life better for them.
Yeah, you might be able to find a colonel around here somewhere that might want to come there and speak to the young people.
We're going to invite the colonel. We're going to invite all of you all to our anniversary next month in July when we celebrate 2 years. So we're going to invite all y'all.
That's right.
Miss Leah, Colonel, and yourself, Mr. Slam.
Well, I'm ready, and I feel honored to have been able to come there to see you in action and see what you do for the children. And I mean, just to smell the book, to feel the pages, it's so different. It took me a long time before I could read a book on a Kindle because I wanted to touch the pages. I wanted to be able to clip my pages or write in my book, that you don't get to, I guess you can do it on the Kindle, but it's just not like holding that book in your hand. And I think that's good and as a means of encouraging the children to want to read, to want to hold these books, to experience places that they they can go places that they never ever even imagined in the books.
Right.
So that
We
is
have
that
one
is
of our reading scholars has even started writing his own book. He's 6 years
6 years old.
and the last time I saw him, he had like maybe 6 or 7 chapters, and he wanted to make sure I was reading it properly. So even with helping them with reading and starting to enjoy reading, even starting to that love of writing.
So just imagine his potential if he's writing a book already at that age. Just imagine the potential that he has when
exactly. He's ready to soar. I mean, anytime he takes that initiative, and it's going to help him as well, because our children can't write anymore because they're so used to texting and using these abbreviations that many of them cannot write a good sentence anymore. So that's good that you're encouraging not only the reading aspect of it, but the writing aspect of it as well. So I commend you for that as well.
Yeah, he's writing from something that only he can experience. Go ahead, Colonel.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can tell that the enthusiasm and your love for young kids and education, it just exudes from the two of you. But I'd like to put a plug in and actually talk to the parents of the 18 kids that come regularly to story time, and for those, and to the other parents that don't attend that have kids. They're just, especially during the summer, that are sitting in the house under the air conditioning and just playing with the little PlayStation,
watching TV
and watching TV, and or they're out in the street, or or going to get in trouble or whatever, or trying to stay out of trouble, but just not doing anything during the summer. Well, when you look at it, I think it was Jerry Lewis. I might have my authors wrong, but he said years ago, this is decades ago, he says, reading is fundamental. Story time is increasing that piece of reading, and that we're increasing and expanding people's minds. And reading makes you have critical thinking. Those who read, there's statistics there's hundreds of studies saying if you can read, you'll have a better chance to get to higher education. With that, you'll have better wages and income in the future. Your life will be better. You'll make better on your SOLs, because if you can't read, you're not going to do anything on SOLs. And so, and you're in a better chance just to make it in society in the future if you can read. And so you're at the forefront of opening the door for these young kids, and so I'm making a plea for those parents that don't have a plan for their children. If you love your children, you need to open up and call y'all.
Yeah,
because
and we've even offered that when we recently started a reading a book club for young boys between the ages of 6 and 9. And we tell the parents, we provide the book. If you don't have the resources to purchase the book, just bring your child. We'll provide the book for them. We don't want that to be a reason, because they don't have the resources, a reason that they can't participate. So kids during the summer, definitely, look us up on social media. Just stay in contact with us, because we will be having programs throughout the summer. Some of our retired and current teachers who will be out of school during the summer will be in here helping us do programs for the kids. And so we will be putting those out. We're still working on some dates, but we will be having that in the near future.
And it's also books for the adults too. And I would encourage adults, especially if as you're going through the stressful day to day of working and everything. It's nothing like relaxing with a good book. Because sometimes when you're stressed out, you can't always go right to sleep. You need to have something to just take your mind away. And a good book can take you anywhere in the world you want to go. So we've been talking a lot about the children, but you have books for adults too. Like I said, it is a bookstore.
Yeah, again, like I think Tara said, we have over 2,000 books in our store. We have children's books. We have, fiction, nonfiction, history, classics. Yeah, we got some old stuff on the shelf, some
Bios.
old bios. And we got something for every reader too, because some of everybody comes in our store, not just folks that look like, me. We got all, and we have a very diverse group of people that come through here. So we have something for everybody. We have something for everybody. Have something for everyone.
And again, Tara and Terrence, and your hours of operations are what again now?
Yeah. Monday through Friday, we're in here like from 3:30 till 7, because we're, it's just her and I. Saturdays we're here from like 10 to 5. And then on Sundays, it varies. Now, like during football season, we were in here on Sundays because my Browns don't come on TV. So I would open up the store. We'd open up the store after church, and I can listen to my Browns on the radio, on the Cleveland radio station. So we would be open on Sundays. But now, just mainly 6 days a week, and just, 3:30 to 7, because we both still work full time. But we get it in because this is our baby. This is our love. This is our fun place away from work,
And one of the things that we want to do in the coming year, we do want to be able to expand our hours. Our one employee is headed off to start her doctoral program.
Yeah, we have one employee.
It's back to just me and Terrence running everything. So one of our goals in the next, this year anyway, is to try to increase our the time that the doors are open.
So you all would be open for volunteers, like maybe students that might want to volunteer. It looks good especially if you have seniors, upcoming seniors.
I've thrown that back. I've thrown that out there.
College resume.
Yeah, I've thrown it out, especially at church, because I work with kids at my church, and there's a ton of kids, and it gets back to like what the brief conversation Colonel and I had. I tell kids, hey, volunteer. You're gonna have to do it. For high school purposes, you're gonna have to do that, and
for college.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to volunteer, because you never know who you're gonna meet. If you're volunteering, you may walk in the store one day while I have them in here sweeping or putting books up, or Ken Wright may walk in here, or the mayor. You never know. So you never know who you're going to run into.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of running into, when you mentioned that you're a Browns fan, so yes, you are the second Browns fan that I've met in last couple of years. So I can understand that it's not being televised. So I just had to add that. So now I know there is too. So I'm gonna have to email my friend who lives in Nashville, and he's an avid Brown fan. I always said he's the only Brown fan in the country.
Yeah, there's two. And there's two.
What's his connection with the Browns? Living in Nashville, is he originally from Ohio, Northeast Ohio?
No, well, I think he was from Ohio, but serving in the military. He just had to retire. His last duty station was in Fort Campbell.
Okay.
And so, which is right now, a couple of hours from Nashville, and so he retired there.
Okay.
Terrence, you can watch the Cowboys every Sunday.
Oh. Well, we played them the first Sunday. We played them, so maybe me and you can get together and watch it together. The Browns and the Cowboys.
That'll definitely be on TV.
I already marked that as a win. The Browns going to beat the Cowboys.
I was going to say y'all get beat the first game. It's all good.
Yeah, I guess you see Colonel as a Cowboy fan too, but anyway, talk more. Is there any plans down the road for maybe expansion or something like that? You always, whenever you have a business plan, it's always something down the road that you might want. You don't have to expose much of it, but in general, I guess everybody has plans. Because bookstores are kind of becoming more popular, but in different kind of settings where people can actually come in and sit down and read and hopefully walk away with the book or however it's set up with you all.
We don't currently have plans to enlarge, because we would probably have to leave the location that we're in, which we like being here. So we will probably stay here. But what we're finding out, we participated in the last 2 years a Hampton Roads book crawl, and where a group of the independent bookstores in the area get together, and in the Hampton Roads area, and you give each person what we call a passport, and you go around and you visit all the different independent bookstores that are in the Hampton Roads area who want to participate. And for our part of town, specifically Portsmouth, Western Branch, and Northern Suffolk, it's 3 bookstores. Really? We're the only African American bookstore in this area. Being a part of that crawl, people from that live Virginia Beach and Hampton, Newport News, who never come to Portsmouth. This had been their first time in Portsmouth coming to the store when we were participating in that. So for us, staying in this location is great. If we could expand here, that would be great. But right now, we don't have any plans for that. But you never know.
Yeah, I figured that might be long range, but you never know. Sometimes opportunities pop up when you're not expecting.
Yes, just like being here popped up.
And Tara, I saw recently, I was trying to remember where I saw it, but it was adult reading time, a time and place where adults could just come in, sit down, relax, and read, and not be bothered. A quiet time. They call it quiet time.
They call it the Silent Book Club.
There you go, the Silent Book Club. Yes, are you thinking about anything like that?
Yes, I have reached out to the local Silent Book Club in Hampton Roads, and we will schedule something. Each year we try to, last year we were part of a couple of different events in the area, and hopefully this year we will add that. But last year we participated in the NaNoWriMo, and what that is a writing challenge where current authors or people who would love to be authors, how they, during the month of November, they take a challenge to write 50,000 words to try to get a novel written or a nonfiction book written. And we were a part of that, and people would come in, we would set up for people to come in, quiet time, play a little music in the background, have snacks for them, writing utensils, anything that they need, and they come in and they just write. And for that whole month of November, we will be open for them to do that. So that's one of the things we do as far as on that end. And then reading, we do have 2 book clubs. We have Men Read, which is our men's book club that meets here once a month. And then we have our women's book club, which is a Printed Word Bookstore book club. And they also meet here once a month as well. And that's open to the public. Both book clubs.
And then tell them about the one we just started.
And then the kids book club, where the boys ages 6 to 9 can also join that one as well. And then we always want people to come in and don't feel like you have to just come and get your book and leave. We want it to be a place so people can come in and feel comfortable, hanging around, sitting down, reading their book.
That's why we have tables and we have coffee and we have water and good conversation. Because the minute you come through the door, I'm going to engage you, Yep.
Indeed you are. Indeed you are. You do that. You do it well too.
That's the counselor in me, counselors.
I know it is. That's for sure.
Leah, I don't know if you can see the screen, but Lynette Cox has making a comment. She would like to donate a copy of her son's book called Nikhil's. His name is Nikhil Cox. First children's book's called Juna, and to your bookstore, it covers a Betsy sensitive subject, death. Oh, okay. I'll let her get in touch with you and describe it more. It said it's a very sensitive subject, but she wants to donate that to you. And if you will, maybe right now, give her the information again, how she can contact you and probably see if it's something that you might want to have a part of your bookstore.
Okay, she can reach us at 757-537-1814, or she can reach us at 757-392-7991, or she can reach out to us on our social media, either Facebook or Instagram. Or she can always just feel free to stop by the store.
5901 Churchland Boulevard.
I'm sure she'll be getting in touch with you. And I had a question about the business part of it. How do you have a lot of people that donate. She just asked about donating her son's book. So you have a lot of people that donate, because I worked with a guy one time that read a lot, but every time he would read a book, he would donate it to somebody. And me, I like whatever I have, I like to hold on to it. I like to have that copy. But you have a lot of people that do that. So a lot of books come through donation. How do the other books come? How do bookstores accumulate the books? You say you had over 2,000 books, and I know it's an ongoing thing where it keeps going. How does that work?
It is. We for our new books, we buy books from wholesalers.
Okay.
And then if they're new books, depending, because we're small, a lot of new books we can't get because you have to buy it in such large bulk for some of the new release books. So some of those we're able to get or partner with other bookstores who may be getting them because they're getting a large number quantity. We may be able to get from them, but the other books we do partner with a couple of wholesalers that we get our books from. And as far as the used books, again, we do take donations, and then we're always on the hunt for good quality books that are previously owned. And yesterday, we actually had a book swap here at the store where people could bring books that they had and maybe they want to donate them. And if it's something that we were looking for or something we would like to have, they brought the books into us, and then we would let them choose a book that they would like from the store. And so we also able to get books that way.
And so do you have particular subjects that you look for? Just like Ms. Cox was talking about, it's a very sensitive subject. So, I mean, would it be some books that you probably would, I'm sure you kind of review them and say, well, maybe we don't want this in our bookstore, but even though you have adults coming in there, you can't just have anything.
For adults, I mean, we're pretty, like I said, diverse what we have. I mean, we do review. There would be some books that we would not carry, and we don't carry a lot. If we get them for donations and they're in good shape, then we will give them away. If somebody's coming and looking for them, we will just, kind of give them away. As far as the children's books, now those are the ones that we really
scrutinize,
and review that way. But for adults, I mean, people have a wide variety of what they love to read, but there are some books that are just like, no, that's not.
Yeah, that's kind of important too with all this book banning that's going around. With the free books that a lot of people can get their hands on in the school system, things like that. Need something.
And talked about the banned book. So we do participate again in the banned book. That's a weekly, monthly. Not monthly, I'm sorry, yearly event that they have, and we will have all kinds of banned books, and people come in here and they're like, why in the world is that book banned?
Tell them how you display it.
And we have them displayed like in a cage, like they're in jail, and have ideas, and we'll have a list of why did someone think that this book need to be banned. Some of them are even children's books. And some of our classics are on that banned book list,
including the Bible. The Bible is on the banned book list.
And so to educate people on the types of things that that for some reason people don't want kids and adults to read, and just to educate people on how big a problem it is right now.
And if you take a look at our social media, we have pictures from the very last banned book week that we participated in. And like I say, Tera is very creative, very creative. That's the MBA in her. You have an MBA. She had a cage. She had crime scene tape around, and she had all the books on there that were on the national banned book list. And, when people come in, that's the first thing that they would see. And when people would purchase a book out of there, they would take, she had like when you get locked up, they got the measurements up on the door. She had the measurements, like how tall you are, and she'd take a picture of you and put it on our social media. So if you look at our social media, you'll see, that we really enjoyed, participating in Banned Book Week. And we sold a lot of books that week. We did well.
And it's important because especially talk about used books, because a lot of places, schools, and are getting rid of those books that they don't want people to read. So the only place that you can find them easily would be coming to a used bookstore. So we hope people, if they're looking for books that may be on the banned book list, to definitely check us out.
Or independent bookstore.
Yes, you never thought politics would control books, but at least not in this country.
Right.
Yeah. True.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to say.
I got
Any
one
other
question.
questions?
Yeah, this is not a question, but this is another statement for the only the second Cleveland Brown fan. Now we know there are two. But the NFL ratings, they have y'all number 11 in the upcoming season. And you know who's on top of y'all at number 10?
Probably the Cowboys, right?
Yes. So we get to beat y'all first week. I just want to make that clear. So
and also too, Colonel, to add to that, we have the toughest schedule. The Cleveland Browns, the Steelers are number 2, I believe, and the Ravens are number 3, because the AFC North, hands down, is the best division in football. The AFC North.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, we got the toughest schedule this year. There's no cupcakes on our schedule this year.
Yes. Y'all got away with a couple of them last year, but we'll see. We'll see. I just had to add that one in there.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask one question, James. Did I see somewhere on social media that you had a program for young girls one Saturday at Printed Word? Can you talk about that, please?
I sure can, Miss Leah. What was it? It was in April. We had a girls' teen summit. She speaks power. Okay, she speaks power. And I got the idea I'm trying to think. Last summer or last fall, I attended the book club downtown in Portsmouth, where they had a youth summer for boys. Okay, it was a panel discussion. They had all men, professional men, and then had a group of boys. And sometimes we forget about the girls. So I came away from there with the idea, let's do something for the girls. So we put together a panel discussion. We had about 7 professional women from different walks of life, and we invited as many teenage girls as we could. Okay, standing room only. We had close to 25 girls in here, plus the panel members. And we went down in the funnel. We talked about everything from self-esteem to bullying, vaping, what your future should look like, what's it going to look like, how to deal with social media, meet your friends' expectations, your parents' expectations. It was awesome. It was powerful. Okay. And we're going to do it again in the fall. It's going to be called Chapter 2. Again, She Speaks Power. And I got hopefully I'll be able to grab the same, professional women to come. And I just wanted our teenage girls. I mean, we had a diverse crowd in here too. Okay. And if you go to our social media, you can't really see the girls' faces, but you can see the backs of their heads. So we had a room full, had a diverse group, very diverse group. And I just wanted these young girls to see women doing it the right way. I wanted them to see women who are educated, women who are professionals, women who are mothers, wives, daughters. I wanted to, have them see that, no disrespect to, these female rappers out here, which unfortunately is kind of a ratchet culture out here. When you talk about, some of these, it's ratchet. I wanted them to see professional women that are doing it the right way. And it was awesome. And it was an entire afternoon. And the parents brought their girls. And like I say, they went down in the funnel. So, yeah, we did that. And we're going to do it again in the fall. And I even invited a few young Navy sailors, that work with me out at the Naval Hospital, because I wanted the teenage girls to see them too. These are young women, not too far away from their age. I wanted them to see them and how they're doing it the right way.
Which is very good, so that they can see that there is life other than the Atlanta housewives and social media, where people are changing their total appearance just to give you the impression that they're living these magnificent lives when they're not, which cause our young girls to begin to feel badly about themselves when they don't see themselves in that light. So that empowerment piece for both the male and the female is extremely, extremely important for our young people.
Exactly. So again, like I say, yes, we're a bookstore, we're a business. However, this platform gives us the opportunity, to extend our talents, our gifts, throughout the community. We want to, have a positive impact on the community.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Richard E. Williams, who's watching now, and he's a local author. And I had him on my other show, the Slim Nation 101's podcast, and I will get him in touch with you. He has a book out
Please
called
do.
Worth the Wait. It's a spiritual based book on based on his life, growing up in Norfolk, Virginia. But and a lot of local people will recognize a lot of things. But it's sort of like true fiction, if you can put those two words together. But I will get him in touch with you, however you work out having his book a part of your bookstore.
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Richard. Thanks for watching. But very good book. So I'll
And you
get you
know,
in touch.
James, and it's really good that our local authors can have a place where they can come and they can share what they've written with the public. And so I just appreciate that so very much, because we do have a lot of young people who and older people who have become authors, and they now have a place that they can come and share their works, which is very important.
It's something you say that, Miss Leah, because when we got into this business, then we just started running into people that have written books. You know, I mean, it's something we've met so many people that have, you know, written books. And again, we have a display, you know, here in the store, you know, for our local authors. Yeah, we have. And there's some talent in this area. There's quite a bit of talent. There's I don't want to throw the name out there, but there's a couple of Negro League guys that play in the Negro League, you know, baseball league that I'm trying to reach out to and maybe see if I can get them to come in the store and sit down and tell their story. And
Yeah,
if I
Mr.
do,
Allen.
you know, if I can get that, I'm gonna, you know,
Mr.
reach out
Allen.
to all the baseball fans I have and have them come in, because I'm a fan of the Negro Leagues.
Well, Sam Allen is a very personal friend of mine, and I know his daughter very well. I work with her in downtown Portsmouth. So, and Sam is also a very good friend of my husband. So I'll talk to her.
Okay, good,
Let
good.
her
Again, I've
know.
heard of Sam. I've heard of Sam.
Yes.
So hey,
Yes.
throw it
Sam
out there,
Allen,
because I would
and
love to hear his story. I would love to hear his story. It's something. You know, my grandfather, you know, loved, you know, baseball, and her late father used to play, you know, in some of the leagues around here. He used to play in the old West Virginia leagues. And from what I hear, it was some talent from this area, which doesn't surprise me, because if you just think of all the pro athletes that come from the Hampton, come from the 757. So
yes.
I can imagine there was some great baseball players back in the day from around here.
And Sam Allen is one of the few left in the country from that Negro League that's
Get
still
Sam
here.
into our
And
store.
born and
I've
raised here
down at
in
the
Norfolk,
table. Get
and
him
it's
here.
more important now that they have merged the records
Yes,
together.
sir. Yeah.
With
Oh, yeah.
Josh Gibson is the leading hitter. He passed
Oh, yeah.
Babe Ruth by
Oh,
far,
yeah.
Ted Williams, and all those guys. So
Right.
Leah can get Sam in there, and you might have to do a two-parter with Sam, because once he starts talking about his experience in the Negro League,
Yeah, we can do
you might
it.
have to
We can
do
do it.
2
Get
sessions.
Sam over here. Get him over here.
I'll talk to his daughter this week, and I'll let her know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, we've come to the end of our show, and we really appreciate it. And I thank you for sharing all your information. And hopefully we can have you back again, you know, for updates or what you're doing. I'm sure you'll be expanding all the things that you're doing throughout the community. And I mentioned Mr. Williams, or Richard Williams. He might be good for that men's group that you have. You know, his story. That is very inspiring and might help a lot of the men that might be in that group. But
if he's not doing anything
off,
Saturday, we're meeting this Saturday. We're reading D.L. Hughley's book, and we're going to discuss it. So if he's not doing anything Saturday, 1:00, have him come on, stick his head in here. He's welcome.
Okay, I'll check with him. He should be still listening, but I'll check with him and see if he's busy. That'll be a great time for an introduction there.
Yes, sir. He's welcome.
Okay. Any last comments from our hosts?
Well, I just want to say I commend you for what you're doing, bringing reading and writing back to our community. And I encourage those who are watching on Facebook and those who go back and watch later on our YouTube channel, go to Portsmouth Coffee Talk on our YouTube channel, and you can see and revisit this interview all over again. And I encourage you once again to share with the public where you're located, when you meet, and how they can reach you. And I commend you once again for the great works that you're doing in the community. So could you share that information with the public just one more time?
Okay, yeah, again, we're at 5901 Churchland Boulevard over here in Churchland, across from the Planet Fitness and the Harris Teeter and Grove Church. And then you can reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram. And then again, our store number, let me put my glasses on, 757-392-7991. And that's where we are. And we're always in here, and we're in here, Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 7, Saturday 10 to 4, 10 to 5. And then in football season, when the Browns play, we're in here on 7 days a week, on Sundays too.
Yeah, we have to come in and listen to the Browns. That is something. Last.
Well, you know what? And thank y'all for what you do. And
thank you, sir.
Yeah. So if you have the public coming in thinking that they're gonna listen to a winning team, you can't go listen to the Browns. So I just had to add that one more shot.
Gotcha, and we're still a long way from the fall, and he's throwing punches already.
Gotcha. Colonel, are you originally from this area? You made are you being retired army? Are you originally from this area?
Yes, I went to Western Branch.
Okay, you did say that. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Bruin from back in the day.
Okay, again, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for agreeing to come on and sharing your wonderful story and about reading. And hopefully everything works out well going forward. A lot of people come in and start to read. And it's good for people that are my age too, because when we get to this point, you start thinking about, different things that can happen to your mind. We're looking at some presidential candidates and people wondering what's going on. Sometimes picking up that book and reading can stimulate things in there that age can't touch. So reading is going to be important. So thanks a lot. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Leah,
you. Yes, sir.
next time we see Leah, she's being secreted now. Next time her hair is either going to be to the side, it's going to be going up top. So
I'll come by the bookstore and see you personally.
Gotcha. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
We'll see it Monday morning early. Okay. Take care, everybody.
Right. Take care.
Thanks for watching. And remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And you see, you've seen the numbers roll across on the bottom where you can contribute to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. We have our Cash App. You can do it through our bank account, and we also have our address if you're still writing checks. Thanks a lot, and we appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.